Hi there and welcome to our next edition of our B5 topic, the living body, and we're going to be looking at cardiac cycles today, which involve the heart. So here are our objectives. So by the end of this lesson on cardiac cycles, we should know and understand the structure and the function of the heart and what's happening during a heartbeat. Okay, so let's start by having a look at the heart. So we've got the diagram of the heart here, and we can see around the outside we've got muscle which contracts to pump the blood around the body. Now it's a really very strong muscle, and it actually gets its oxygen and sugar for respiration to actually do its job from the coronary artery, which is just here. Now, if we look at what happens during the heartbeat, we have blood coming in here through the vena cava into our right atrium. Now, when it comes in, the atrioventricular valves are closed, and then when it's filled up, they open to allow the blood to go into the right ventricle. Now, from the right ventricle, it goes up and out through the pulmonary artery to the lungs. Now here we've got semilunar valves as well. Now this artery is the only artery that carries deoxygenated blood. Now from the lungs we get the blood coming back through the pulmonary vein. Pulmonary means the lungs, and this is the only vein that carries oxygenated blood. Now it comes in and fills up the left atrium, and then it goes through the atrioventricular valves into the left ventricle, and then the blood is pumped through the aorta to the rest of the body. And again you can see the semilunar valves on the way out to prevent any backflow back into the heart. Now, what actually happens during the heartbeat? The heart relaxes to allow blood to enter the atria, plural for atrium. The atria then contract to push the blood into here and here at the same time. Now this causes the atrioventricular valves to open. Now the ventricles then contract to push the blood out through the top of the heart through the semilunar valves. So they open, which closes these valves so we don't get the blood going back into the atria, and then it goes out through the two parts of the heart. Now the blood is in a sealed system within the body, so that it is under pressure. Now, when the ventricles contract, it causes the blood to be pumped into the arteries under immense pressure. Now, as that blood moves around the arteries, you can actually feel it moving, and that is your pulse. Now, at the arteries, they are under the highest amount of pressure. Now as the blood moves to the capillaries, they become under less pressure, and they're at the lowest pressure in the vein. Now if we look at this data here, you can see that the different organs within the body, so you've got the brain, the heart and the muscles, and we're actually looking at the blood flow in centimetre cubed per minute. And you can see that at rest the brain has 700 centimetre cubes per minute, and that doesn't change even when we do exercise, so it remains constant. Now if we go to the bottom, you can see that there's quite a lot for the muscles, and that increases quite significantly during exercise because you need to be doing more respiration to allow that movement. And because of this, the amount of blood that goes through the heart will also increase. Now, there is something else as well that could cause it to increase, and that is adrenaline. Adrenaline can also cause the heart rate to increase. Controlling the heartbeat is done by something called a pacemaker. Now, a pacemaker can be found in the right atrium. Now, what the pacemaker is it's a group of specialised cells that send out electrical impulses, and it spreads across the heart muscle and it causes it to contract. Now, the heart rate can speed up in response to exercise to be able to provide more oxygen and more glucose to the respiring cells. Now, unfortunately, the pacemaker can fail and you can have an artificial pacemaker added to the body. Now, this is a common operation, but it can make the heartbeat more regular. Now, if we want to monitor the heart rate, you can do it in two ways, and they're both different. Now, the first one is to carry out an echocardiogram. Now, this measures the electrical impulses of the heart, and the second one is an echocardiogram. Now, what this does is it ultrasounds the heart, so we can actually get a picture of the beating heart. So electrocardiogram will measure the electrical impulses, and an echocardiogram will measure or look at the heart beating. Now, if we actually look at the heart here, we can see that we've got a couple of things that are highlighted. Now, at the top there, we've got the sinoatrial node. Now, that produces impulses that will spread across the atria to make them contract. Now, you can see here that it's sending these impulses to allow it to contract. Now, here in the middle, we have the atrioventricular node, and what that does is it relays the impulses over to the ventricles to cause those to contract as well. Now, there will be nerves within the heart that are then connected to the brain that can send a message to the sinoatrial node to increase the heartbeat in order to regulate it. Now, if we were to look at an ECG, it will give us a graph that looks something like this. Now, an ECG is the electrocardiogram, and you can see here that you've got the impulse that causes the atria to contract. This then causes the ventricle to contract, and then you've got recovery time before the next heartbeat. So you've got atria contracting, ventricle contracting, and then a rest period. Okay, so we have looked at the heart today, looked at cardiac cycles. We have looked at what happens during a heartbeat, and we've looked at how the blood flows through the heart. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you again next time. Bye bye.